The Moon Walk Part 2, introducing Mark Rubio of Florida. Let's talk about it. Uh, Mark Rubio puts Dr. Fauci on the hot seat, and and I want to give him credit for it. It seems like a play. It seems like a play. It just does. The link will be in the description. What I appreciate about the play is at the end he says to Dr. Fauci, "Don't you owe all the people who will call theorists who suggested that the pandemic, scandemic, COVID-19 was created in a laboratory and was not a natural event, did not occur naturally in nature." That's how he ended. That's how his questioning ended, and the look on Dr. Fauci's face is priceless. Listen, we knew that stuff was created in labs. You know, okay, so let's go with this. Anytime anything is done, anytime money is moved anywhere, there's a record of it. Okay, and a lot of times these the records of these transactions can be found in committee meetings and subcommittee meetings. You just have to be um, you just have to be willing to go read through it. I'm sure you could do it online, but it's better to go to a library and just pull it up or find out what libraries contain these documents. In some cases, old documents going back to the 50s and the 60s, and look it up. For instance, and we've talked about this before. Shout out to Dr. Lynn Horowitz, who is in Hawaii now with his partner, who's a journalist. Now, I hadn't spoken to Dr. Horowitz personally, but I did speak to his partner. She's a journalist, and she's currently living with him in Hawaii via Facebook a couple years ago, the Facebook Messenger. When I was seeking anyone to pay attention to the medical kidnapping of Violet Monsees. My youngest daughter, that's another video. And he put a book together, and a link to that book will be in the description, of how he documented how taxpayer money was used to create HIV and AIDS. Facts. Created with taxpayer money. He found the legislation. He found the name of the company involved, Linton Bionetics. He found how much they was paid a year, $2.5 million a year for 5 years, to create HIV in a lab, bioweapons. All of this is all of this is documented, easy to get their hands on, and he put it in a book. Right? None of the news medias in the United States would touch it. I mean, Canada, he got some play in Canada in different spots, but the internet has successfully suppressed that, like a lot of other things. The problem is there's too many small pockets of individuals who are familiar with this. My subscribers already know this. You know? They already know this. They're already aware of it. They already know the book, and probably some of them have already purchased the book. The book is hard to get your hands on, but it is loaded with information. It is loaded with the details of how the virus was created, what animals were used in what sequence to create the virus that you refer to as HIV, why it was given, well, how it was distributed to California and New York first, and how it was distributed in Africa via vaccines. I mean, all of that is documented in the book. It just is. It's documented in the book, and it's documented through his tireless travels and presentations that were successfully suppressed. Why am I saying all this? Because I hypothesize. Again, this is just my opinion now. I'm moving from fact to opinion. I hypothesize that there was a growing amount of regular people who are not scholars like myself, who were coming across this information, right? And that momentum needed to be disrupted, okay? Major distraction, major fear-based campaign to get people on to reherd the herd in the direction that they need us to be herded in, of not knowing shit, of living in fear, of being so afraid we just do stuff to our detriment just because we were told to over and over again, i.e., example, wearing masks and socially distancing, not physically distancing, physically staying away from people 6 feet, socially distancing. Well, social means interacting, talking, and I noticed that. New York, where I'm from, New York, you make a lot of eye contact growing up, stuff like that. I don't know what it's like now, but I'm talking about growing up in New York. You avoided people. You avoid people. You spoke to people you know. In the South, everybody spoke to everybody. It was the weirdest thing for me traveling from New York to South Carolina to visit relatives, and strangers, people driving by you in the car on the road, waving at you. Hey. We didn't do that in New York. You kidding me? What is it? It was like being on another planet. They successfully spread that virus to the South and all pockets of the planet who were affected by the scandemic. Pandemic, people not making eye contact, people not speaking, people afraid to shake hands. I mean, it's a masterful job of fuckery. But back to Mark Rubio. So Mark Rubio was grilling them. Listen, Fauci, what empirical evidence